Hey everyone, DragolianX with Operation Fusion here. Now, for the longest time, I've watched the Pokemon anime, and it's a big reason why I became a Pokemon fan. I was the youngest in my family, so when it came to game systems, I was always at the bottom in terms of priority, so I didn't get to play any of the mainline games until I was in middle school. I did get Pokemon XD Yellow Darkness for my GameCube, but that was only a spin-off game, so it didn't really give me the whole journey experience that I was looking for in a Pokemon game. The reason I'm telling you this is because today I'm going to speculate on how my own journey will play out if I run the Pokemon anime by doing the Who Wants to Journey 2021 tag. To start off this video, I'm going to explain my journey in order from start to finish. This will include my Pokemon in the order I meet them, which regions I explore, and which companions and rivals I meet. This is so you can get a good idea of how certain things will develop over the course of my anime run. Now, to answer which region I'd hail from, I thought that I'd shake it up a bit and have my journey start in the Orre region, and I'd be from Port. The reason I picked the Orre region is because honestly, I feel like its potential hasn't been reached to its fullest. And since I'm from the Orre region, there's only one choice that would make sense for my first Pokemon, and that's Eevee. Since the Orre region doesn't have a regional professor that hands out starters, I figured Eevee would be the best choice. And the main reason I picked Eevee is because it seems to be more common in the Orre region, and the main character of XD was able to raise one before getting any other Pokemon. So that's basically where I'm starting off here. I start my journey the day I turn 12, and decide it's time for me to challenge the Orre Region Coliseum Challenge. The main goal of the challenge being to beat every tournament at every Coliseum and win the big tournament at Welcome Tower. Knowing that I have to start raising a second Pokemon before the challenge begins, since double battles are the format of choice in the Orre region, I head over to Pyrite Town to buy some Pokesnacks so I can head over to a Pokespot. I know about this because I see King on the TV a lot, and he always talks about how to catch wild Pokemon at different Pokespots. When I get to Pyrite Town to buy some Pokesnacks, he tells me to head over to the Oasis Pokespot since it's the closest one to Pyrite Town. Once I get to the Oasis Pokespot, I lay out some Pokesnacks and wait for a wild Pokemon to show up. Eventually, a Phanpy does show up to take the bait, and I catch it, adding it to my team. I then return to Port and train by battling the local sailors that are waiting for their ships to leave, and one of them notices that I'm training an Eevee and offers me a stone to evolve it. Looking through his collection, I pick a Thunderstone, and my Eevee evolves into the Jolteon. Once I feel confident enough in my training, I head over to Pyrite Town to take on the Pyrite Coliseum. Now, luckily, the Pyrite Coliseum is on the lower tier of the Coliseum challenge because I'm only challenging them with a Jolteon and a Phanpy. So I get really lucky and manage to end up winning the entire tournament, thus earning my first victory in the Coliseum challenge. However, after this, I realized I should have more than just 2 Pokemon on my team. So I head over to the Cave Pokespot and the Rock Pokespot so I can catch some new Pokemon. I head up to the Cave Pokespot, and as soon as I get there, I lay out my Pokesnacks and wait for another Pokemon to show up. After a while, a Zubat shows up, so I go ahead and catch it, adding it to my team. I then head over to the Rock Pokespot to repeat the process, and after more waiting, I catch a Gligar, making it my 4th Pokemon so far. Once I catch my new Pokemon, I spend a lot more time training because I don't want to be as caught off guard as I was when I entered the tournament at Pyrite Town. So I spend a lot more time training at the Pokespots battling wild Pokemon this time, and my Zubat evolves into a Golbat. Once it evolves, I feel like I'm in a good enough spot to enter the Phoenix City tournament because while battling, all my other Pokemon did level up, and I feel like they're strong enough to handle the tournament at Phoenix City. So when I get there, I'm able to breeze past most of the rounds and end up winning the whole thing, qualifying me for the challenge at the Welcome Tower. When I get to Welcome Tower and enter the tournament, I make it through most of the rounds with no issue at all. But I have trouble with the last trainer. The last trainer in the Welcome Coliseum tournament is none other than Wes, the main protagonist of Pokemon Coliseum. For the sake of the anime, the events of Pokemon Coliseum take place around 5 years ago, the same way they do in Pokemon XD and Yellow Darkness. However, this time, West decides to stay in the Orre region. Because of this, Cypher doesn't make their comeback and the events of XD never take place. During my battle with West, I take a heavy loss since he considers somewhat of a champion of the Orre region at this point. After the battle, he tells me to head to Mount Battle to take on the 100 Battle Knockout Challenge if I want to get stronger. I take his advice and I head out for Mount Battle after the tournament concludes. Once I get to Mount Battle, I feel like I absolutely have to prove myself here, so I'll throw everything I have at the Knockout Challenge. Throughout the entire thing, my Golbat manages to evolve into a Crobat, and Fanfy finally evolves into Donphan. It's long, it's hard, and it's easily the biggest challenge I've taken on so far other than the Coliseum Challenge. But I make it to the 100th battle, and I manage to defeat the current Battle Master of Mount Battle, Battleus. Now, after the battle, he allows me to choose one of 3 Pokemon to take with me, and just like in XD, if you manage to win all 100 battles at Mount Battle without switching your Pokemon, you can choose one of the Johto starters, and as an added bonus, they know their Hyper Beam move for their type. So, I naturally choose Cyndaquil, and I leave Mount Battle somewhat satisfied. Once I leave Mount Battle, I go home to Gationport and wonder where to go from there. The Coliseum Challenge ended for the year, and there's nowhere else new for me to go to train. After wandering around town for a bit, I hear from one of the sailors about the league in the Hoenn region starting up soon. Hearing this, I board a boat and make my way over to the Hoenn region. Once I get to the Hoenn region, I make my way to Little Root Town so I can get a Pokedex from Professor Birch so I can officially register for the league. This is an important step because I didn't really have a Pokedex before. I only had a strategy memo on my PDA, so this is a really important step for my journey overall. I make my way through the region and collect a fair amount of badges. Around the time I get my badge of the Lava Ridge Gym, Cyndaquil evolves into a Quilava. I continue on my way through the region and can eventually collect all 8 badges I need in order to enter the Evergrande Conference. This is around the time Ash will be entering his first league at the Indigo Plateau. Once I get to Evergrande City, I head to registration and I get ready for my very first official league conference. I make it through preliminaries and round 1 because for the most part, they require double battles, and at this point, I'm pretty good at double battles. I make it all the way through the tournament up to the final 8, where I ultimately lose in the end because I go up against a stronger trainer. This is to be expected because while I am a good trainer and I was able to place pretty high in another region's league, I still didn't have much experience with the league overall, and I didn't know what to expect going into it. I didn't know if it would be similar to the Coliseum Challenge back home, or what other Pokemon I would run into since the selection back home was pretty limited. So ultimately, I end up losing the Hoenn League, but I do hear about another league that's going to start up pretty soon in the upcoming months. I found out that this league is going to take place in the Unova region, so I board a plane and I make my way over to Unova for the next step in my journey. When I get to Unova to take on the league, my Quilava evolves into a Typhlosion. I also catch a Sewaddle in the Pinwheel Forest just before I get to Castelia City. I then make my way through the region and enter a few Battle Club tournaments in between gym battles. I managed to win a tournament where the prize is a Razorfang, which I use to evolve my Gligar into Gliscor. I continue to make my way through the Unova region, collecting 8 badges so I could compete in the Virtus Conference. By the time I collect all 8 badges needed, my Sewaddle evolves into a Swatloon. And during the league, Swatloon then evolves into a Leavanny. I do manage to do pretty well in this league, ultimately getting into the top 4, but once again, I'm unable to completely win the league. I did better than the last time, but I just couldn't bring myself to victory this time. After the Unova League, I take some time and decide to train harder for the next league challenge. I then hear about the Alola region, and more specifically, the Battle Tree, and how many strong trainers gather there to train. With my mind made up, I hop on a plane and make my way to the Alola region. In the Alola region, I mostly spend time on Pony Island challenging the battle tree and encountering many different Pokemon I've never seen before. While exploring the vast Pony Canyon, I find a Jangmo-O and decide to catch it. I put it on rotation and spend some time training it until it evolves into Como-O. During my training, I learned how to use Z moves and get the Z crystals for electric and ground type moves, as well as Como-O's Z crystal that allows it to use Clangor's Soul Blaze. While I'm challenging the battle tree, a man named Scott tells me about a different kind of challenge in the Kanto region known as the Battle Frontier, and how I'd face many tough battles there. I eagerly make my way to the Kanto region to compete in the Battle Frontier. The Battle Frontier is a difficult challenge for me, but I managed to come out stronger for it. While in the Kanto region for the Battle Frontier, I catch a Poliwhirl and I find a Water Stone and eventually evolve it into a Poliwrath. Also, it's worth mentioning that during this part of my journey, this is where I would occasionally run into Ash, since this will be around the same time he challenges the Battle Frontier as well. Whenever we meet up, we battle and then go our separate ways. I collect 6 symbols and work towards getting my last one by tracking down the Battle Pyramid. Once I find it, I found out that Ash had already beaten Brandon. This fires me up and I put my best foot forward in our battle and beat Brandon. After securing victory in the Battle Frontier, I decided to head to the next region to take on another league. I briefly meet up with Ash and he tells me that he's going to the Sinnoh region, and I decided to go there as well so we could battle each other again in the Sinnoh League. Throughout the Sinnoh region, I managed to collect badges at a steady rate, and while on my journey in the region, I catch a Rhyhorn, which I then evolve into a Rhydon. It takes some time, but I eventually find a Protector and use it to evolve my Rhydon into a Rhyperior. With my team, I easily get 8 badges and qualify for the Lily of the Valley Conference. For the most part, the Sinnoh League plays out similarly as it does in the anime, although I'm in a different bracket than Ash and all his rivals, so I end up battling Tobias before he gets to the Final 4. I put up a decent fight, but with the combination of the Dark Void and Dream Eater, most of my Pokemon go down. It comes down to me and my trusty Jolteon, and we manage to take down his Darkrai, only for him to send in a Latios and finish me off. Feeling defeated, I'd head home to Gatian Port in order to come up with my next plan. When I get home, I find a letter addressed to me with coordinates written on it telling me to go to that location as soon as possible. I get on my motorbike and head there to see that it's another Coliseum, but it's one that I'd never heard of before. When I get there, I meet an old man named Egan who tells me that this is the Orre Coliseum, and only the strongest trainers in the region get invited there. When I ask why I was invited, I'm told that my progress in the other regions had been noticed by some of the best trainers in the region. Hearing this, I enter the current tournament that's going on there, and I blast my way through the competition. In the end, I get my rematch with Wes, and I manage to win, making me the current champion of the Orre region. Once I become the champion, I reflect on my past journeys and decide to start a league in the Orre region. After experiencing the highs and the lows competing on such a grand scale for the world to see, I want to bring that sort of excitement to the Orre region. A few years later, after the league has been established, I decided that me, my Elite Four, and our gym leaders will compete in the Pokemon World Championship. As you can see, this is quite the journey I take if I were in the anime. My goal will ultimately be the champion of the Orre region and set up a league similar to how Professor Kukui set up a league in Alola. I'll go into more detail about that in a later video, but this is my ultimate goal if I were in the anime. Now, finally to sort out my full team, that being Jolteon, Donphan, Crobat, Gliscor, Typhlosion, and Leavanny, with Como-O, Poliwrath, and Rhyperior on rotation. Jolteon never leaves my team for any reason. It's my first Pokemon and it stayed with me at all times. I typically try to keep all the Pokemon I got in the Orre region on me at all times, but I will rotate them if I'm going into a difficult battle and need to shake up my team a little bit. Now to answer the question of who my companions and rivals would be in my travels. For companions, I never really thought who I'd travel with. Most likely, I'd travel with fellow Operation Fusion members if they were to go on a Pokemon journey as well. As for rivals, I'm not too sure. I'm still technically new to the PokeTuber community since I only collabed with a few people a while ago and eventually ghosted away from my main channel before coming back here to be a member for Operation Fusion. If I had to pick a rival, it'd probably be Lumio's trainer Zach since I watch his content a lot. Now, I know I'm supposed to tag someone here, but the only person that I can think of that I can tag would be Shellshock, since he started posting videos again. If anyone else wants to do it though, the tag is open to anyone. That'll do it for this video though. Again, big thanks to Crash Your Plays and Infamous Trainer for making this tag possible because it was a lot of fun to work on. Until next time, I've been DragolianX with Operation Fusion, and I'll catch you guys next time.